in your view?
Well, authoritarianism is galloping, it's increasing. It's not just an Amnesty International finding, it's a finding of everyone who research human rights, democracy, and so on. Some of the most long-term studies have concluded that right now we're back to 1985 level in terms of how many people in the world live in so-called democracies. So we have lost some count since 1985. Since the fall of the Berlin Wall, all the progress, we've seen a U-turn for people around the world. Authoritarianism is quick. Democracy takes a very long time to be established. Look at the United States, 12 months of Donald Trump in the White House, and it is a playbook of how authoritarian practices get embedded into every institutions, from attacks on freedom of expression, freedom of the media, academic freedom, freedom of association, attacks on dissent, creation of new militarized security forces that are unbounded, the attacks on migrants, on refugees, on trans, on women, all of those things have taken place in 12 months. Can you quite grab that? How long does it take to create equality, a true sense and experience of safety, of security? All of that has been literally destroyed in 12 months. And I have many friends in the United States. I've lived there. There are many friends who are brown people, black people, and the fear that under which they live every day is palpable. So it's everywhere. And it's not just Donald Trump. You could believe that Donald Trump has brought us to there. No. For more than 8 years, Amnesty International has been denouncing the slow but true spread of authoritarian practices throughout Europe. Emergency legal decisions have become normalized. Policing has become grounded on practices and including linked to surveillance and facial recognition that have led to many abuses. Attacks on non-discrimination have become very commonplace. And what do we have to say about other places, such as Iran, for instance, where thousands of people have lost their life in the last week, combating one of the most cruel authoritarian regimes. So we are all being impacted by the rise of authoritarian practices around the world. There is no easy solution to it. It's not just disrupting Donald Trump. It's not just resisting Donald Trump. It is also looking at our own society and unpacking the dynamic that have made those authoritarian practices possible, the fears, the anxieties, including over AI, and how do we tackle it? I think that's the key questions. I mean, there is no doubt that it is unchecked. There is no doubt that it is everywhere right now. The key question that we need to ask ourselves is, what do we do about it? Because makes no mistake, authoritarian practices lead to very bad things for a lot of people. And when it becomes a global phenomena, it leads to what we saw in 1940. So we really need, it is incumbent upon us to combat authoritarian practices wherever we are. We do not need to be in New York, we do not need to be in Paris, we do not need to be in Davos. We can combat authoritarian practices in our village, in our communities, in our families, and we must combat it, because if we don't, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the destination will not be 2050. Let's be very clear. We will not get to 2050.
You raised a very...
mechanisms to hold them accountable? Are there mechanisms to prevent them from getting into power? I think there are, but there is no political will to implement them. Throughout the last 20 years, particularly the last 20 years, we have seen time and time again governments using double standards in order to protect some of those governments and denounce others, in order to make deals with Syria or Egypt and so on, while denouncing other governments. It is eating at any kind of rule-based principle system that we need to establish, the double standard, the rejection of any universal approach to how we see the world, how we protect rights, how we hold others accountable. That is killing the international system. That is killing any pretense of creating an international system. But the alternative, as you say, it's real anarchy. So the answer is not to destroy what doesn't work very well. There is absolutely no doubt that the global rule-based system of the last 8 years has left many people out, has made millions. I was in Syria, so I know the cruelty of that regime, and I cannot tell you enough how deeply, deeply touched I was by the family of the disappeared. This was the most cruel regime that has gone on and on and on and on. And we have plenty of examples like this around the world. The rule-based order was and is not perfect. Destroying it like Donald Trump is doing at the moment, like Putin is doing, like Netanyahu is doing, that is not the solution. Trying to tackle the limitations and the problem, trying to reform what can be reformed, strengthening the accountability dimension, tackling the double standard, truly ensuring a universal approach to what we believe must be implemented around the world. That are the solution. But the destruction will only bring us to annihilation. So I'm calling on all of you, when we say that the rule-based order is on its way out and that it is a problem, we don't mean that the rule-based system was perfect, and we need to acknowledge that. We must continue to have a transformative agenda. We cannot be cornered into protecting what should not be protected, but we also cannot be forced into destroying something that has held us together, not perfectly, but has held us together. So we must absolutely resist the destruction of that system that is being put forward by Donald Trump and others, with the complicity or the silence of our leaders here, because many of you are European, I think. I am here at Davos because I want to send a message of resistance. We must resist what they are planning right now. We must resist the destruction of the system. We must resist the notion that corporate actors can rule every aspect of our life. We must resist the destruction of the environment. And I wish I will be as hopeful as you are. I'm not at all that hopeful. But I think it could come about if together we say no and we stand up and we resist. It cannot just be about Greenland, but it also must be about Greenland. But it cannot just be about territorial integrity. It must be about values. It must be about the Syrian people who are still demanding accountability. It must be about all of our rights that must be protected. And for that, we must be bloody brave and bloody courageous, because those people have no limits. Woo!